God's greatest gifts. Trees are God's greatest gifts to man. They are the largest living things on the earth. They live longer than any animal. Most trees grow to more than 7 meters high. The biggest trees are the giant sequoias of California. These trees can grow to over 100 meters high. They can measure 25 meters around the trunk. The oldest trees are the Californian pines. Some of them are now more than 4,500 years old. The age of a tree can be told by counting the rings in its trunk. In most trees, new wood is formed each year, in the form of a ring outside the wood of the previous year. These rings, as seen on the sawn trunk of a tree, are circular in shape. Each ring in the trunk represents 1 year of the tree's life. By counting the rings, we can tell the age of a tree. In a year of good rainfall, the ring formed is thicker than the ones in a year of less rainfall. Thus, the rings of a tree can also serve as a chart of rainfall. Now let's see in brief how useful trees are for us. In fact, without trees, no life would be possible on this earth. It is difficult to imagine what a bleak world it would be if there were no trees. Men in olden days used wood for making their homes, rafts, canoes, and weapons. They used it as fuel to cook and to keep themselves warm. In addition to wood, man was dependent on trees for many other things also. He got from them fruits and nuts for his food. Leaves of the palm and other trees were used for thatching roofs. The bark and the leaves of trees were used for clothing. Utensils were made from calabashes, coconuts, and the shells of other fruits. A number of medicines, dyes, tanning materials, and spices were obtained from trees. In present times also, man is no less dependent on trees. He has, no doubt, invented many things that can take the place of wood. He has begun to use concrete, steel, glass, and plastics in place of wood. But even then, the demand for wood has increased vastly. For example, we need lots and lots of wood for making paper, cardboard, and packing cases. Trees are invaluable for another reason also. They supply us with oxygen without which no life would be possible. There is oxygen in the air, but it is being constantly used up and turned into carbon dioxide, CO2. When animals breathe and things burn, oxygen is consumed and carbon dioxide is produced. The green leaves of trees absorb this carbon dioxide. With the help of sunlight, they break it into carbon and oxygen. The carbon is used by green leaves to make starch. The oxygen is released back into the air. Thus, the oxygen used up in burning and breathing is replaced in the atmosphere. But for this, animals, including human beings, would soon die due to lack of oxygen. The starch produced by green leaves serves as food for animals. But for this, all animals would die. Animals get all their food from plants or by eating animals that feed on plants. Trees also help to cool the atmosphere. The leaves of trees give out a lot of water vapor. It helps to cool the air. When rain clouds pass through the cool air, they condense and come down as rain. That is why there is a greater rainfall over places where we have thick forest. Our earth has a fine layer of soil at the surface. All plants grow in this soil only. Under the soil, there are rocks of various kinds. Nature takes millions of years to form an inch of soil in thickness. But sometimes, a single heavy shower can wash it off. Such a thing doesn't happen in places where we have forest or lot of trees. The roots of trees hold the soil together and protect it from being washed off. We value trees not only for their usefulness, but also for their beauty. They refresh the eyes and bring peace to the mind. That is why our ancient rishis were attracted to the forest. They lived in their forest homes or ashrams in the company of nature. It was in these ashramas that they taught their pupils. When Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore started a school, he also chose a place full of trees. He called it Shanti Niketan, or the home of peace. There was a time when our hills, mountains and even plains were covered with huge forests. As the population grew, trees were cut down to meet the demand for fuel and timber. Thus, our wonderful forest came to be destroyed. Now we don't have enough trees to give us firewood even. So people are forced to burn cattle dung, which ought to be saved for use as manure. Cattle dung is very necessary to maintain the fertility of soil. Chemical fertilizers alone can't help. In many areas where only chemical fertilizers are used, the crop yields have started falling. There is another grave danger. Now we don't have enough trees to treat all the carbon dioxide that is being produced in our homes, factories and by our autos. The air remains polluted and it can give us a number of serious diseases. Trees are man's best friends. They are God's greatest gift to man. They are the invaluable wealth of a nation. It is our sacred duty to protect them and look after them well. For every tree that is cut down, we must plant at least 2 new trees and take care of them. If we don't care for trees, they too will stop caring for us. And then, imagine what will happen.